Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Jello Jiggling podcast. And oh my God, the Lakers have the Rookie of the Year. I'm saying it right now. They played 14 games, and I've already seen enough. I know a lot of crap can happen from now until game 82. Injuries, other rookies come out of nowhere. I think, what's his name? Jared McCain in Philly keeps doing what he's doing. But after last night and what I've seen in the games prior to that, Dalton Knecht is the Rookie of the Year, in my opinion. May seem biased, whatever. Accuse me, whatever. I don't care. If you didn't watch, then you don't know. Go watch it. Go watch Dalton Knecht absolutely ripped the Utah Jazz a new one. He scored a career-high 37 points. The guy had 30 points in 3 quarters. He outscored AD and LeBron at that point. And I think at one point they had combined 73 points between the three of them, and Utah had 75. Like, the Lakers have been looking for that third guy for a while now, right? Ever since they got this dynamic duo with AD and LeBron put together, they haven't had that consistent third guy, who can just go off like this. I mean, Reeves has his moments, D'Lo has his moments, but they're pretty damn inconsistent. I mean, they're consistent at being 20-point guys, 15 to 20-point guys, contributing here and there in other areas. But for the most part, that's what they are. And they both kind of hit their ceiling at this point, I think. Whereas Knecht, I have no idea where this kid's ceiling is. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, I don't want to jump to the conclusions because it could just be a hot streak for a really good shooter. And he could cool off at any moment. And shooters always do. Shooters always have a rough stretch. It's just what happens when you shoot the basketball a lot. And he does. But the thing is, the kid is incredibly consistent and efficient. Efficient is the key word there. Because last night, he went, he missed 4 shots all game long en route to 37 points. So he went 12 for 16 from the floor. He scored 37 points in 16 shots. He made 9 for 12 from deep, and he made it look easy. I mean, super easy. This guy, you know when you have like an elite shooter, when a guy looks exactly the same every time he shoots. He doesn't get off balance. He's always square with the rim. He's extremely fundamental. Incredibly fast release, and ability to make or create his own shot, which I think separates him a bit from just being a shooter, right? He's not a Duncan Robinson per se, or like a Luke Kennard or something. He's a guy who can create. Often he can drive. He's got incredible offensive instincts. He knows when to cut. He doesn't settle for he doesn't camp outside. I mean, Austin Reeves has hit him with a couple incredible passes with him going to the hole. He's not afraid to play above the rim. He's everything offensively, everything. He can just do everything. I mean, to the point where last night I felt like it was unnecessary to put AD and LeBron back in the game because this kid could just kept going. Like Utah had no answer for him. I think even the coach after the game said something funny. Excuse me. I'll try and find it real quick. I think I retweeted it because I just was cracking up about it. It just showed his frustration, and understandably so, because they couldn't do anything against him. Nothing. He was. I mean, I'm gushing over the guy because it's been a long time since I've had something to get excited about while covering this team. It's just kind of been the same kind of humdrum crap over and over again. They're good, but not great. LeBron's 40 years old. Like I've lost count of how many times I hear that crap every time he dunks the basketball or does something. And it is incredible. I'm not saying it's not. It just gets old, because you can do all that stuff, but if you're not winning games, if you're not competitive, then I don't give a shit, And I hope I'm not just being the only one out here on an island. And this guy makes things that much more exciting, and he makes this team good. They've won 6 straight games now. 6 straight games. They have a record of 10-4, and I think they're in 3rd place in the Western Conference with only OKC and Golden State ahead of them. I mean, it's early. This could totally change. I mean, even in a couple of weeks, all of a sudden they go on they go cold and they can't win games anymore. And I don't see that happening because I think they're truly a good basketball team. They just got to close out teams that they should close out earlier, right? Like they should have beat Utah by 25. They just should have. The 2 Raptor games they played, they should have won by 25. I mean, there's teams, they just let these guys just get back into the game in the second half. They just always, it's like almost like guaranteed. Like it's coming. It's coming and you can't stop it. I mean, they got it to single digits at the end there last night. Utah outscored the Lakers 43-27 in the fourth quarter, to put it in perspective. It's just wow. But, that's beside the point because we're talking about Knecht here. Knecht was incredible. 4 for 5 from the free throw line. He's automatic. Even 5 rebounds. He's become a decent rebounder. He's not too shabby at all. And after this game, he's now averaging 11.3 points, 2.5 rebounds, 1.1 assists, and 52% from the floor. And he's shooting from 3, 46.4%. The guy is just an incredible shooter. I mean, he just needs more minutes and more reps, and these numbers are going to skyrocket because it's not a fluke. These are not fluke performances by him. I think that's the trippiest part about this. It's like, this can happen to. Thanks, Max. As always, makes his presence known. It's not a fluke because any NBA player in the league can go off like this once, twice, maybe, because every player in the league is good. I don't care if you're at the end of the bench, a two-way guy or whatever. These are professional basketball players. These are the best players in the world. There's only, a few hundred of these guys in the world for a reason, right? It's because they're good. But this kid's better than good. I think he has a chance to be something special. And turn the emails off. So I'm looking at the games here. So his first kind of like breakout was against the Cavaliers in a blowout. Cavaliers just destroyed them because they've been destroying everybody except for Boston last night. Where he scored 18 points, but that was mostly, garbage time or whatever. But, he went 50% from the floor. Not that great from 3, 2 for 7. But he scored 18 points in 22 minutes. I said it's pretty damn good. And then he had a bunch of kind of like so-so games where, single digits, but he didn't play much outside of Memphis, where he played 27 minutes and scored 3 points because he couldn't hit more than one shot out of 7 attempts, which is awful. But he had a little tough stretch there. Memphis and Philly were not good games for him. And then he hit Memphis a second time, and it was 19 points. And he was almost flawless. 7 for 8 from the floor, 5 for 5 from deep. And I think it kind of unlocked him a little bit because he hasn't regressed since then. He's only kept that level or gone to another level. He scored 4 or 5 less points the next game against San Antonio, but he played less minutes. 6 for 11, 14 points, 2 for 4 from deep. And then New Orleans, he blew up. Like I thought this was his kind of breakout game, right? I was like, okay, yes, this kid's for real. I'm excited to see what he can do. He went 5 for 10 from deep, 10 for 17 from the floor, 7 rebounds, 27 points. Great performance, and a 5-point win. And then Utah, he just elevated to another stratosphere. I mean, he went from being a good rookie where people, turned heads. He's got the nicknames now, Westside Connect and, Connect 4. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to follow. Somebody had a good one on the live stream I did last night. What was it? Downtown Dalton. Thought that was pretty damn good. But I'm sure these happens when this happens when these guys blow up. But 38 minutes as a starter, 75% from the floor, 75 from deep, 80% from the free throw line, 37 points. Just remarkable. And they won by 6. See, that's what I mean. Winning by 6 against a team you should have beat by 25. New Orleans is the same case. They won by 5. I mean, these are typical trap games, right? These are games where you anticipate them to just destroy their opponent because the opponents are bad. Utah has only won 3 games all year. New Orleans is completely depleted in terms with injuries just ripping them apart. It's basically Brandon Ingram and a bunch of guys surrounded by a bunch of guys you've never heard of before. But I'm excited to see where this goes because he is truly impressive. I think the thing I'm impressed the most about him, and I've said this before, but it's just his confidence. The guy has just, how'd you put it the right way? Okay, JJ last night called him fearless. Said fearless. He says he's not worried about Knecht dealing with the bright lights of LA and the pressure. He said, I'm not worried about him in that. Let me find the direct quote because I know I tweeted it. LeBron and JJ said some good things about Knecht last night. See, I'm not concerned at all with Dalton in terms of meeting the moment. He's fearless. And then he went on to say Dalton's impact on the team when he gets hot like this. And in terms of what he does for the energy of the group and the energy of the arena, I think not just tonight, but whether it was the Memphis game or the start of the fourth when we beat Sacramento here, it's like his shot making gets us going. It's a real weapon for our group. Beyond just a score, it's a weapon that energizes us. He's talking about a rookie. You usually say this about a 6-man coming off the bench for his entire career, 10 years or something, like a Lou Williams or something like that. Kind of like a microwave type, Malik Monk or whatever. But no, this is a rookie who's played 14 games now. It's just remarkable. And he set a record last night, a Lakers rookie record for the most ever three-pointers hit by a rookie with 9. And he tied an NBA record with that total. I think there was 3 other players. I don't remember who those players were. I think a few of them were kind of like guys that are not even in the league anymore that, just kind of flamed out fast. And he's only the 4th Laker to hit 9 3-pointers in a game. That's incredible if you think about that. I know Kobe was one of them. I think LeBron's one of them. And who was the other one? I don't think it was Nick Van Exel. Yeah, I don't know. I got to look that up. But let's see. By rookie. So it's the most points by a rookie, Lakers rookie, since Kyle Kuzma did 38 in 2017. Let's see what else. Dalton Knecht is just the 2nd rookie in NBA history records 37 plus points and 9 plus 3-pointers in a game. I mean, this it's just when you get into historic levels like this, it's another thing. He even did the Jordan shrug after hitting some of these threes. I missed it. I must have looked away or something, but there's pictures all over the place of it, and I think that's great because this kid's not like he's not Mr. Personality. He's not Mr. Attitude. He's not like, Anthony Edwards or something like that. He's quiet. He's quiet as a mouse. He doesn't say much. I get the only time he gets nervous, I think, is when a microphone's in front of him. And that's common. He's a kid. He's a kid. He's an older rookie, but that doesn't. I don't think that means anything. To be honest, he's 23. He'll turn 24 in April when the season's hitting playoff time. I'm trying to like push back on everything I'm thinking and feeling about this kid. I don't want to pump him up like he's the best thing since sliced bread, and I think it's easy to do that when there's been so much mediocrity in LA in terms of basketball for the last few years. But I'm excited to see where this goes. I think he's just got a lot of potential, and he doesn't miss an opportunity to seize the moment, right? He's asking for the ball. He's got the confidence of his teammates, which is crazy. Like, they know when he starts getting hot, feed him the basketball. It's not like, oh, he's just a rookie. I might hesitate passing the ball. No, these guys were actively looking for him. They're setting screens. They're trying to get him come off screens. They're trying to hit him in the corners, off of drives. It was a great thing to see because he's become a real asset for the team now. I mean, like I said, JJ had nothing but great things to say about him. And then LeBron kind of followed that up as well. Here's a couple of LeBron quotes. LeBron on Knecht getting hot. It's special to watch. It's fun. I mean, when you're playing the game the right way and it's coming into the flow. But when you get a guy that gets hot like that, and feel like you could just throw anything into the ocean and it's going in for sure. And DK, they call him DK. And DK got it going. And then he said, LeBron had a couple good quotes. Of course, LeBron. Somebody said, like, oh, what do you think of him now compared to last season when he was playing for Tennessee? And LeBron, at first prefaced it by saying, oh, everybody thinks I'm a liar, not seeing these things ahead of time. And let's be honest, LeBron, you've had some whoppers in your day, dude. But this one you got right. He said, I watched him at Tennessee a lot. I did not think he was going to fall to us in the draft, he means, at 17. I thought it would be impossible. I have no idea how that happened, but I'm very grateful and I'm very happy he's here. I knew exactly what we were getting when he fell to number 17. And then the quote of the night, not safe for work, but I'm just going to say it anyway because it's my podcast, so fuck it. LeBron on Lakers front office finding Dalton Knecht. Said this with a smile and a laugh, so he's not being mean. He's not taking a shot at the front office. They didn't find DK. The other 16 teams fucked it up. Did anybody watch him? It's like, shit. They just didn't fuck it up. So, I mean, if I'm, say, the front office, I'm a little irked about that because you're not getting any credit, but because they could have easily taken somebody else, right? It's not like it's just whatever, right? Everything came together. It's right. You don't have to blow this quote out of proportion, but I just thought it was funny because he's right. He's not wrong. Let's see what else we got here. JJ. I think that's it for JJ. But now everybody's talking about him. This kid's a household name now. The thing is now, though, so what happens now, right? You won 6 straight. People are not overlooking the Lakers now. The Lakers look like a force. I mean, it's kind of the same thing going on with Golden State. The difference over there is there's no breakout star. It's just they're just doing what Golden State has done for a decade, right? Is he rookie of the year? I'm going to say yes. I think it's kind of a shitty rookie class anyway, and it's probably a two-man race between him and Jared McCain, who's kind of been like the only bright spot for Philly this year. And Philly's like one of the worst teams in the league, if not the worst team in the league. I think they've won like 2 games. I mean, it's kind of pitiful at this point, where they had like an players only meeting, calling each other out. Lowry and I think Maxey went at Embiid calling him out for being late to everything. I mean, it's not good. I bet you Paul George is like, what the hell I get myself into? Not like he's doing much to help the situation either. He hasn't played well either. But now it comes. Rui has been out, I think, a couple games now. I think is it an ankle injury? I can't remember. I gotta look for it. Hold on. This should not be something that takes too long. Injuries. We got Rui's got it's an ankle injury. So it's those kind of things don't take long to come back from, unless it's like a high ankle sprain, which I don't think. I think that's the case for Jackson Hayes. I don't think that's the case for Rui. I think Rui's going to bounce back. I wouldn't be surprised if he plays tomorrow. But the real question is now, what do you do with the starting lineup? I think the smart move is you've already moved D'Lo off the bench. That seems to be working. I mean, D'Lo's not lighting up the scoreboard or anything, but he's not becoming a problem among the starters, right? He's not bringing those guys down. I say you have D'Lo and Rui come off the bench, and then when Christian Wood and Vando come back, that's when you got to make another decision about power forward and where you go with that. But I think Knecht has earned the starting role, and I think it's at this point you can't bench him. I think it's going to be detrimental to his development. I think it's going to be detrimental to the team winning basketball games every other night. And I think a really good test for that will be this upcoming stretch that they have. It's going to be tough. This is not going to be easy by any means. And I think that's a good thing. It's a brutal schedule, and it starts with the Orlando Magic tomorrow in LA. Orlando Magic is arguably the best defensive team in the league. They have the best opponent points per game at like 102, I think it is. Check that one real quick too. But they're just locking down people, and they had a tough stretch in the beginning because Paolo went down, and he's your core guy. Whenever your core guy goes down, you're gonna struggle to adjust. But it looks like they've adjusted, and they're showing that they're actually a really good all-around team, but excel defensively. They're holding opponents to 102.2 points per game, which is the best in the league, with OKC being the only ones behind them at 103.9. And they've won 6 straight games. So something's got to give on Thursday. One of these two teams is going to lose and snap their streak. And I think it would be a huge win for the Lakers, bigger than the 6 that they just won. I think it's going to show that this team can really beat a tough opponent, because there's only 4 teams that scare you in the East right now. I'm not even scare you, but like 2 teams that scare you, Cleveland and Boston, who just played each other last night, and Cleveland lost their first game. But then there's Orlando and New York, and then it just drops off like crazy. It's like Atlanta's in 5th place in the East, and they have a losing record of 7-8. This is the worst I've seen the East in a very long time. And Milwaukee seems to be turning things around at least a little bit. Philly is just an absolute dumpster fire. 2-11. There's nobody that's really living up to expectations. The Knicks are only 8-6. They haven't played well, but they just started winning games. They've got 3 in a row. So the East is kind of garbage, but that's where this schedule gets interesting, because they play Orlando tomorrow. It's going to be a tough test against a great defensive team. And then they play Denver on Saturday. And that's the one I circled initially. I think Orlando is going to be a bit more challenging just because they're so good defensively. Whereas Denver's kind of been like seesawing back and forth. I think Jokic is dealing with some kind of injury at the moment. In fact, I'll look at that right now. Let's see, where is he? Oh, it just says personal. I didn't know that. I thought it was an injury. But I guess he missed Tuesday's game for personal reasons. So who knows? Who knows if he plays on Saturday? They've already got Aaron Gordon out, which obviously isn't great. And I guess Westbrook's playing well. And they are 8-5. So they've turned things around slightly, but the thing is that they play the Lakers almost as well as anybody, right? If not the best. So it's going to be a challenge, as it always is. And I'm curious to see if they can get through it because it's not going to stop there. They got Denver. Thanksgiving week is going to be a nightmare for the Lakers. They're going to be on the road for the majority of it. I mean, they're going to be hopping back and forth between LA and the road, like up until Christmas, and then in Christmas they're on the road in Golden State. But they got Denver on Saturday. Max is just pacing back and forth. I'll take you out in a minute, bud. Just let me finish this. Phoenix on Tuesday in Phoenix. Phoenix hasn't played as well as they did in the beginning of the season, but they're still formidable, right? Like, I mean, KD is playing incredible basketball. So they're going to be a challenge, especially on the road. And then at San Antonio just beat OKC. There are no pushovers this year. They're not elite by any stretch, but I think they're playing with emotion for Popovich, which is a bummer, by the way. I really like that guy. I remember growing up, I couldn't stand him. I thought he was a real dick. I thought he was a dick to the media. I thought he was a dick to, Shaq doing the hack Shaq thing and all the time. And he just, the Spurs were a nemesis. So, you didn't respect him. But the older I've gotten, the more I'm just like, that guy's a cool dude. I got nothing but respect for him. And he seems to have respect everywhere he goes. And he just calls out stupid things like, like the halftime where they talk to the coach before he goes in the locker room. And that never made any sense to me. Like, what do you expect him to say? Like, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. I don't understand those interviews. I think they're pointless. And Popovich totally thinks they're pointless. So he just, kind of makes fun of him for it in his own way. So they're missing him. I think they didn't even have Wemby and they beat OKC, which is crazy. And then they got OKC the day after Thanksgiving on November 29th in LA, nationally televised on ESPN. That's going to be a huge game. All these games are going to be big. Maybe outside of San Antonio, every single one's going to test them in a different way. And I think it's going to, it's not going to determine the rest of the season, but it's going to be a talking point, how they come out of this. Because they're already better than expected. JJ Redick's better than expected. Knecht is definitely better than expected. AD's playing like an MVP. I think if he keeps this up, he's got a legit case for that. He just has to play the games, right? He's got to hit that, 65 games, the minimum requirement to be eligible for a regular season award. He did it last year. I think he hit 76. But this stretch is going to be telling. And then after that, I mean, it still doesn't get much easier. I mean, they got a couple gimmies like at Utah, at Atlanta, Portland, Detroit, even though Detroit already beat them once, on the way to, the matchup everybody's going to be waiting for. If both teams continue to play amazing basketball on Christmas Day in Golden State, I can't wait for that. That's going to be a great game. And it looks like it's one of the later games, 5:00 Pacific. That's cool. That's kind of like perfect timing. Everybody starts to wind down. Everybody's a little hammered. hammered and stuffed with food on Christmas Day. But it's Lakers trending in the right direction, man. They've got a gem. They've got a gem with Knecht, and I cannot wait to see what he can do on a consistent basis. I can't wait to see what he does against Orlando. I think the game plan for them is they're not going to be taking him lightly at all. They might try to make an example of him. They might try to deny him the basketball. I mean, they've got bigger problems. They got LeBron, they got AD, but still, they don't want this kid to kill him either. Let's see how are they doing in terms of injuries. We'll get a report today at some point. What's going on? So Wendell Carter Jr. is out with a foot injury and Paolo's out. So they're missing a couple, big guys. Yeah, Paolo's going to be out for a while. Anyway, so they're not totally depleted, but I would assume they're going to throw a mix of Jalen Suggs and former Laker KCP at Knecht. Whenever he touches the ball, they're going to swarm him and probably force, Reeves to beat them. So it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be his first true tough test because everyone's going to be talking about him from today until up to game time tomorrow. And so it'll be a big topic of discussion. And I can't wait for it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Lakers basketball in general is going to be a lot of fun for the rest of the year. As long as this keeps up, as long as they can stay relatively healthy, eventually get Wood and Vanderbilt back, maybe make a trade for another big, which seems to be the rumor that's persisted ever since the summer. Shams, I did a podcast on it yesterday about Shams saying that the Lakers are still looking for a big to trade for, who could be Jonas Valanciunas or Brook Lopez. Who was the other one? Or Walker Kessler, who was out yesterday. So I don't know. It's just interesting, compelling. We should all be excited as Laker fans to see what's ahead because it's very optimistic. It could be a bright future, at least this season. I don't know what it is after this, but they got a guy. They got another guy. Knecht is another dude who can only get better from here. So let's see where that goes. And I'm going to come back on probably Friday to talk about the Magic game and see what happened. Break that down. Hopefully Knecht goes off for 40. That would be awesome. But until then, I'll see you.